Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. As you can probably hear, I am very sick at the time of recording this, so I'm gonna sound a bit different, but it's whatever. Nonetheless, I still want to make a video and play some Satisfactory. Last time, we got some prep done for the completion of our coal power plant. This included making blueprints for our road, assembling blueprints into this long and completely unnecessary road, transporting all of our water, and placing all of our extractors that will produce our water. With the road complete and water transported, there's just a couple things left to be done before I finish the power plant. Oh yeah, and I put a link in the description for all the blueprints that I made. Namely, we need to unlock the Mark II miner, like this. And we also need to unlock explosives to blow up this boulder, like this. I glossed over unlocking those and didn't add any details into it because I want the sole purpose of today's video to be the completion of the coal power plant. I don't want the focus to be on anything else, just getting this done and everything actually related to getting it up and running. So first things first, I want to get Mark II miners placed down on the nodes and get all of the conveyor belts run just like this one is. So I left the steel beam constructors running, so there should be a nice stockpile of beams. So for the Mark II miner, I need encased beams and modular frames. So I'm gonna go ahead and handcraft those things, and then I'll place the miners once I have them. Alright, so I have everything I need for the miners. Time to place them. I'm not exactly sure which direction I want this guy pointing. Probably that. And actually point this in the right direction. Now I'll replace this miner. And lastly this miner. Upgrade all of the conveyors to Mark III. I think I'm going to run my power cords down and like on the side here. Something like that to hide them rather than do traditional pulls. So I'm still going to keep my path as it was, and I'm just going to pass it through. I'm trying to figure out a way to fill out this middle part. So I think maybe just doing a cutout like that is fine for now. It doesn't really like stand out as an eyesore to me, so I think that'll be fine. Okay, so as you can see, I have brought all of the conveyors over to the power plant. This, obviously, I'm not going to cut off my power yet. I'll do that right before I hook everything up, I think. But I need to go grab the power shards and power up all of the miners. I'm going to put them on standby too, because if I have them on and if they kick on at all with those power shards, it'll instantly blow my power network. Alright, I am back at the miners with all of my power shards on standby, and then I crank them all the way up for when I do need them. So these conveyors will only transport 270, so I'm gonna have to have some inactive generators, but that's fine. It won't. I won't lose too much power, and then whenever I get Mark IV conveyor belts, I'll upgrade them. So first things first, I want to get started on the parking lot that'll go into the building. I'm going to probably just make it. I have two sides that flare out that are big enough to fit vehicles. I think I'll just start by making a square and then see how that looks. I think 2 foundations deep would be plenty. I might even be able to get away with 1.5. Now I don't want this to ruin the overall aesthetic that I'm going for, which I'm a little afraid this might do that. So maybe I need to think of a better spot to put the parking lot, maybe off to the side there, rather than have it be directly in front. So it's actually not too bad from a, oh my god, it looks like a dick. Okay, better. I think square is what I'll do. Add our lines. Ooh, I'm gonna need to get the solid lines. So as you can see here, I have quite a few coupons. So in the background, while I've been building the road and whatnot, I've been letting this assembler go, and it's been making smart plating, which was feeding into that. But I stopped so I can let it build up a bit, so we can get that phase 2 objective complete. But then I also have a few constructors, the ones that are making the quick wire all the way over there, are feeding directly into a sink, so that has been building up coupons as well. With that, we'll buy our lines. Those seem like very deep lines, but okay, so this guy's super small, but the big truck, it'll look nice for the big truck. Change those over to yellow. Let's see about those corner foundations. Okay, so we could do the interior being curved, which looks really nice actually. Or we do this, the exterior. Oh yeah, definitely the exterior. That looks nice. I really like that. The pillars going down, and that'll allow me to add some depth to the base of this. One thing I did not think about was railing for the corners is non-existent. So I don't know what I'm gonna really do for that. So I'm thinking maybe I should add a truck stop to one of these. I don't have the materials, but I feel like a truck stop would make a lot of sense. It probably wouldn't actually ever transport anything, but maybe it could be nice to just have a truck that always travels this road, just to kind of as a taxi slash something to make the world feel a little bit more alive. I will do that later though. I'm just gonna keep focusing on getting this entrance situated. So I want to bring it up. This is obviously going to be where you enter the building at. Be going in, and then like I said in the earlier videos, this is going to be just a solid wall. You're not going to be able to see into this. So there'll just be like a foundation wall here that you come through, and then you'll see everything. So now I need to plan how I want to do the water pipes, because my initial plan was to have them go up the center and then wrap around, but that would get in the way of the windows that show the conveyor belt, so I can't really do that, can I? So I need to find a way to run them through the walls. So I think what I'll do is I'll have the pipes run over, go through, and then I will have one that just goes straight into, and then another one that splits, goes down into, say, the bottom level, and then it will keep running up that split one, and I go over into the next level, because obviously I need to make 6 pipes go into 4 floors. So I think my plan is going to be to run these into the building and then have them run through the infrastructure wall. So I think I'm just gonna have them pop out as needed through the walls. So before I get too involved with the pipes, I'm going to quick mimic what I did over here just on the other side. And it's been a long time since I did that, so it might take a second to actually figure out how to replicate it. It's also reminded me, I do not want to be building this out of the default walls. I want these out of concrete. And so I cannot find a way to solve the Z fighting that kind of is happening here on my sidewalks. The only real way would be to obviously you know, have it so they're just like perfectly lined up and they're not scrunched like they are right now. I will say, building up on places up this high and then having to go down to check something, it's really annoying now flying. Not having a jetpack or anything, but it won't be too long before I get a jetpack, I think. I'm having a tough time replicating the floor that I have down here up top. I'm thinking the best way, which I've just been doing, is making vertical pillars of them and then deleting all the stuff in between. In order to get this kind of curve, there wasn't really a clean way to do it. I'm gonna save my game and quick try something, just see how it pans out. If I delete this middle section, what happens if I simply take the outer ring and just bump that out? It is no longer an oval. Man, is it a lot cleaner with the amount of pieces that I put down. It's a whole lot cleaner. For the sake of simplicity, I think I'm gonna go ahead and choose to go off of the outside and have this more of a square shape with the rounded edges than having the oval, just for the sake of the upper floors and to not have this many foundations just smashed together. I've placed all of the floors for where the conveyors and stuff are going to pop out, and I'm liking the shape. I'm liking the cutout that it's going to have. Okay, so now on the roof, I need to find out where my conveyor holes are going to be popping out. So I can place those and then bring the elevators up. Speaking of elevators, where's like cool functioning elevators? I think it'd be so cool if there was like those train elevators that like rotate and then you know, they can go in any direction. I think those would be super cool because there's so many times where like there's an elevation issue that if you just had like a train elevator, ooh, it looks so cool. And yeah, so in order to line up the walls how I want them, I'm gonna have to get these conveyor walls, and I had to painstakingly go all the way over to my base and back just to grab a single ticket, but you know, that's just how it is, I guess. So I only need one conveyor. Does this one line up? It certainly does not. That's annoying. Alright, so now the hole's lined up. I'm gonna line these up. I'm just gonna try to mimic as much of what I already did as possible. Also, I need to make sure all of these are Mark III elevators, not Mark IIs. So as you can see, the coal has already come through, so we could go ahead and actually set up our first one to have the coal deposited into it. Let's go ahead and see how this is going to work, because I'm assuming I won't be able to just line up. So I might just have to go through, put down the wall holes where I want them, and then just fill it in with walls. If I do that, am I able to just slap walls in here? Oh no, that's obviously going to be an issue. I might have to do something evil here. Because obviously for the pipelines, I can just slap a hole there, run the water in, no problem. Super easy. Conveyors, I might have to do an evil clip. I might have to just clip it through. But first, I need to go get wall-mounted conveyor belts. Yippee. What I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do is just on the outside line up a splitter and then slap it through. I don't want to mark one. And then, you know, on the inside you're not gonna see the hole, but from the outside you just see the splitter, and it's not even, it doesn't really matter. The one issue I'm seeing now is with this wall hole, I have to just bump back a half foundation. So if I bump it back a half foundation, and suppose the wall is now here, I could actually put the splitter on the inside. Then tough decision here whether or not to put the conveyor belt outside or inside, but I think the conveyor belt outside will add a lot of moving parts and look nice, so I think I'm gonna stick with that idea. So this is what we're now looking at. I was able to move up the pipeline, and it still's wrapping around on the outside. So I think that's how I'm gonna do it. I'll just obviously do the same and run it all the way down. I'm gonna have to do that for every floor. So I went ahead and I fully set up a row. As you can see, this is what it'll look like. Fairly clean. The real question that I had was, will it look okay with the splitters? They are very obvious. But they're kind of hidden by the chimneys, so I'm not too worried about it. And also, I'm now noticing these wall holes definitely aren't high enough if I want to have pipes going through like this. Definitely not high enough. A new unexpected problem: encroaching clearance whenever I try to put my junction cross. And of course I kind of need that junction cross in order for this to work. But I still really want the aesthetic of the pipe running outside. So what I think I'll do is I will run the pipe all the way down, and then I think I'll wrap it back inside and then split at the junction from the inside instead. Because I can put it here. Like that will work. I can then use my junction crosses. Okay, so the coal generators are all hooked up to the coal, and then I have the pipes run that will be going into all the generators. Unfortunately, the pipes don't go into the generators evenly, and what I mean by that is a full 300 pipe of water goes into 6.6666 coal generators. So I actually have to, I can't have these be two separate loops. I have to have both this pipe, which is only going to be full of 150 water, and then this pipe, which is going to be full of the 300. They have to kind of come together, and then at this generator here, they should kind of meet up at the very last bit of water. We'll see if that works. I'm a little skeptical about whether or not that's going to work flawlessly, but we'll see. As you can see from an overview, that looks pretty dang good. Being able to see all of the pipes, and then when it gets down to like the final layer or whatever, it's going to be all the way wrapping around. It's going to have that long run. That'll add a lot of depth to the building, whereas they would have just been nice flat walls. So I'm excited to keep doing this. Not because I have to do this another 7 times. So this is going to be a grind to do that. This is what it's going to look like on every single floor. It's going to be the exact same. I'm going to go ahead and get cracking on that, but we'll see how long that takes. We are currently at 32 hours 12 minutes. Let's see how long this takes. So I ran into a hiccup, and this is the hiccup solution. That took me longer than it did to do all of the pipes and hooking up all of the other conveyor belts combined. So that's great. But I had to figure out a way to somehow pull these from the top, get it down, and then on this floor, the confusion is how do I split this while keeping it within this one foundation, this 4x4 foundation. I could go into this little piece, but that's it. So like how to do that, and this is it. The real issue was trying to get it through the middle of this wall. I could not get it to line up for the life of me, and my solution was this. This down here doesn't look bad. This up here is a disaster, but it'll be in my logistics wall, so I don't really care. And it'll get things where I need them, so I'm happy with it. But man, was that a waste of time. Alright, so I got all of my water pipes and conveyors run. And as you can see, coal is going into all the conveyor belts. And we also have all the pipes run, but our next step now is to connect the water actually up to these pipes. So in order to do that, I did this very ugly setup. So basically I'm just gonna have to keep bringing these upwards. So this first layer has the water that it needs, or this first level has the water it needs. Now I just need to keep bringing them all up and then keep splitting. So really this next level, I'll continue this one and then bring this one up in it. Once again, there's going to be lots of clipping going on, but that is just the way it goes. I do really wish there was a way for me to kind of stack my wall supports, or to even be able to change the height that they're at, because I can't do that like I can with the floor supports. So that's something that's pretty annoying. Okay, so all pipelines should be connected then to all the floors. As you can see, I just did it very quick and dirty. I don't intend for any of these logistics to be seen other than during this building process. So I'm not too worried about it being ugly. That is simply just, trading off being able to do it quickly over being able to do it nice and clean. When doing it nice and clean, you're not going to see it, so I'm not going to waste my time on that. So as I'm putting this together, the real question that I'm thinking about is, will the pipes have enough pressure to actually push it to the top of the building? I'm assuming not. I'm thinking I'm going to have to place some pumps. And my thought would be put the pumps just like out here. We'll see though. Maybe the water will make it up there at full flow, but I'm pretty doubtful. Okay, so all of the water pipes have run, and as you can see, water is flowing into them. going in and filling up all the coal generators. So theoretically, I should be able to start turning on some of these machines. I'm gonna do that so we get some power being produced, and then I can go and turn on the rest of the water generators over at the pond where I pull all the water from. To do that though, I'm not going to be satisfied just running wires. I want to do a better looking style. What I mean by that is I definitely need these beams. Really common way to do it, I'm sure, but the way I've been doing it is I like to run a steel beam across the top, and then I like to connect a little wall outlet and then put it above. Obviously that's not going to work because it's not cleanly over the top. So the question will be whether I want to do it down, pulling down like that, or if I want to do it from the side of the beam. I think I'm going to go with the steel beams. I think that'll look nicer than the painted for this factory. More of an industrial look, which is entirely what I'm going for. So I think this is the design that I'm going to land with. Have it so I actually show the outlets connecting everything and then the wire is running. I think with this build I want to show more of what makes the factory rather than hiding most of it. The only part I care to hide is the materials running into the building. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect all of the generators that I have on all the floors, and then that'll show me which machines are working, which aren't, right? All of the power poles have been run, and then all of the generators have been powered on. Some of them are powering on and off, just flickering, and that would probably be cause of somewhere along the lines there's definitely just like a Mark II messing everything up. So I need to quick go find that. Aha, right here. Right now, my next worry is how I can make this all look clean, connecting each line of coal generators to the next. I opt for going into my infrastructure wall, maybe, so I can kind of have it go through the middle, maybe connect it running through over like this, over in that, and then on the other side maybe. Then once I have walls placed, it'll look like that. Well, that isn't terrible. There might be a better way. Then maybe I use this kind of beam as more of a, like, it'll wrap around the whole building kind of thing. I think I'll go ahead and try that and see how it looks, and I'll do that for each level. The other worry I now have is, sure, on the bottom level bringing it out like that works, going into the middle of the infrastructure wall, but these keep kicking out further and further and further until at the very top that's no longer the case. It actually goes so much that the beam, there wouldn't even be a structural beam. This would have to just follow along the wall here. So maybe something like that. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. And then have it go all the way out here. Probably rest it on the curve, actually. And then meet in the middle. I think that'll do. I think that'll work. And then this middle section will be window up until that point. I'm thinking this will be the kind of design that I go for here. I'm gonna have that's a normal beam, and then the metal beams going around, and it's gonna wrap around all the way up until when it reaches the middle window that I'll have. And then I just need to decide at what point I want to have the wire stop running to go into the wall. And that will probably be different on each level of the building. On the lower levels, I could still have it run all the way up until this middle section of the pillar, and then go down, which I think that's what I'll do. So I feel like this is also a good point to where I should choose what kind of colors I want in play with this, because obviously right now it is just completely gray and black. And then the silver from the beams. I think with the accents such as these painted beams, I'll be able to I need to figure out which accent colors I want. And then kind of go through and decorate with either signs or more painted beams to give it a little bit of pop. Because I'm thinking I'll have something like painted beams running around, say, the bottom of the rims of each level, kind of like this, if it does look good. But it looks like it might also be a pain in the butt to make. So not exactly smooth, but not exactly the worst thing ever. It's a tough decision on what to do. And then with railings, they also don't necessarily look great. Maybe small pillars on their sides. If I did say have the pillars and then painted them a color that would fit them. I do like the color of red concrete. As you can see, red concrete does look pretty nice. Like for floors, it is great. So I think I might make red accents, so long as it's out of concrete. So this right here looks like a pretty good solution to adding some sort of railing slash cover for my curves here. So if the railings weren't going to look nice, and if I wasn't going to be able to do sideways concrete pillars, my idea was essentially, what if I just put the pillars standing upright on them, and then they formed like a pretty nice fence that has pretty decent snap points. So if I just put it 1 meter up like that and then put it down, I get this 1 meter fence that will work nicely as sort of as a railing. And then if I color them red, they should add a nice accent to everything. Okay, so that looks pretty decent. It's not perfect, but working with a curve or something like this, obviously it's never going to be perfect. So I think this is something that the blueprint designer will help greatly with. So I'm going to see if I can't sort of replicate this on the blueprint designer, because if I'm going to have to do it for 8 times, twice for each floor, I definitely want some sort of blueprint. Okay, so I replicated most of the turn that I have on the inside. I think I should be able to just place my concrete pillars then, and maybe this will just work. So as you can see here, I managed to turn my turns into blueprints here. I had to make separate ones for right and left, and now I just need to make blueprints for the straights. One issue is just that in order to be able to place these, I needed to have the foundations dip down, and this one needed to actually go down 5 meters, where this only had to go down 4. Just because I made the blueprints differently, I'm going to quick change it so they're the same. So the left turn blueprint has been fixed, and I also made concrete railings that maybe they'll be able to blueprint snap. Doesn't look like it. So if I nudge, I can get it though. Okay, just like that. Okay, so the blueprints work. Great. And I also created the 16 meter one so that I can do it much quicker. So this counts as a left turn here. I will put it into place. As easy as that. Then you'll notice I ran with space limitations, so I have to have like this one end not complete, but that's not a big deal. If I simply do this. Okay, so I got the curve done. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this on each level. It takes quite a lot of finagling to get everything together, but I'm going to keep going at it and keep doing the best I can to actually put it how it needs to be there. It's going to take a little while to get the hang of how these blueprints go together. I have finished the railing for all of the floors. It looks pretty good. The issue I ran into was at the top level. As you can see here at the top level, in order to make there any sort of walkable space, I had to bring it in further. And then I just opened it up kind of like a dog bone. And so there's still a gap, and I want there to be sunlight coming in from the roof that will be over this. The next thing I need to do is hook up power to each of the levels and then bring that into the world grid, because my world grid's shut down. I need to hook that up so I actually have some sort of power going on. So now it should be as simple as just linking from floor to floor. Okay, so at least for this side of the building, it is hooked up. And I just need to figure out where I want to do the connection from the road to the building. And I'm thinking I'll be able to do an easy connection if I just plug this into the wall. Not that wall. Kind of like that. But of course with the double. Our power's going to be super janky for a little bit. And I will want to cut off these generators now. So they'll burn whatever they have left, and then all of that will pile in. And hopefully our water will be enough. Right now, since I don't have all of my water extractors running, it's kind of just a guessing game as to whether or not any of the generators have water. I have no idea where the water actually is right now. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to mimic what I did on all the other floors, but for this side. So as I'm going around adding the power to the other side, I'm also going to add the walls to the interiors of all of the infrastructure wall. So it's going to look a bit more finished, and it's also going to, you know, obviously it's going to show me some more problems that I'm sure there is with the build that I've yet to see. With it shut off, man, that looks a whole lot cleaner. I will have to figure out some sort of detailing to make it look more alive, though. Here's a bit more of a final look at what it'll be like once it's finished, with the painted foundations and some of the more detail work that I've done. I'm really liking the black and red contrast that I'm having, along with the steel beam that's going to be running along the perimeter of the walls. I think it's coming together nicely. Okay, so a lot of time has passed and a lot of tinkering has happened, and I think I got the pipeline situation handled. It was all of the pipes that are actually inside of the building were not having enough head lift, which, I mean, that makes a lot of sense in hindsight. But in my need to fix that, I had to put a whole bunch of pumps on those pipes running through the walls, which, as you can see, has led to problems. There wasn't really better spots for me to put these, so I'm stuck here wondering what to do about it. The obvious solution would be to have pumps Mark II, but I don't. I don't know if I'll be able to fix this issue until I get Mark II pumps. With that being said, it's not that big of a deal to me if it is only temporary. I'm still going to go through, finish the whole plant. These will just have to be a blemish until I get Mark II pumps. It's super unfortunate, but as you can see, with all the green lights going on, most of the machines are getting saturated with water and coal. This still has to load up on coal. You can also see the graph is steady. That should settle around, what was it? So this should settle around 4,800 megawatts, which it already has. So majority of the power plant's running. It'll produce around 6,000 whenever it's fully up and going, but that's once I get the correct conveyor belts. So for the time being, I'm going to finish all the aesthetics. It's going to be running like this. It's going to get saturated with all the water and coal. Once that happens, then it'll be up and running 100%. Speaking of the next thing to finish, I'm going to work on making the walls and roofs. And then after that, probably windows and some more detail work. And then I think we will be done. So I'm ready to work on my walls. And in order to get kind of the slope that I want on the walls, or for the roof, I think I need to first get rid of that. Place a 1 meter half foundation, or 2 long roof. And then all the chimneys are going to pop out. And, we'll have the aesthetic that I originally was going for. And those across, and as you can see, clearly I would either have to change the elevation or I'm going to have to use 1 meter walls. I'm going to continue running these metal beams along the outside also. I think they add a nice little bit of detail to the build that it's lacking. And I will also probably continue to do some of my concrete pillars as well in the corners of the building. Trying to decide whether or not I like the red pillars on the outside. I think there'll have to be more of them for me to actually warm up to it. Here is what I have for the first completed wall. I have yet to color it, of course, but I'm thinking it's not looking too bad. I'm a little skeptical whether or not the metal beams are a good choice. It's not like they're random, but I'm not quite sure how they fit in. So I may or may not keep those. I'm going to keep doing the banding around the front, see if that kind of ties it all together. I want to change all of the pipes to clean, because the indicators aren't necessarily all in the same spots, and I think it looks cleaner. I think this banding, as you can see, like the walls, they have to intersect with each other because the curve that I did was 2 ticks. What I mean by that is on my crossing, I did 2 rather than 1, which 1 gives nice smooth curves, but 2 obviously turns quicker. And I did 2, so maybe adding my banding will kind of make that look cleaner, not as rough. So I went ahead and I unlocked the windows that I'll be using. I figured I might as well place those. That's what it'll look with the windows, which looks pretty clean. However, I am considering adding a border to the windows. I'm thinking I might do stone pillars. I'll leave it like that for now, and I will see later, you know, in a broader view how it looks and if I want to change anything. But I'm thinking it actually doesn't look too bad. Now I'm going to take what I did on this side and I'm going to completely duplicate it on the other side and then go over it with a paint job. So I have just duplicated what I did on that side over to the right side of the building. There's just left to paint the building and then add the roof, and I have yet to do the back wall of the building. So I'm gonna quick do the back wall, do the wrap, and then I will go towards the roof. Okay, here I am at the top on the roof, and now I need to design what kind of roof I want. I know I absolutely want huge open windows for this. I just need to figure out what would look nice. I'll need to get the glass roof, and I need 5 tickets for that. Let's see if I can somehow conjure up 5 tickets. So I got everything I needed, and I unlocked the glass roof finally. However, I think I'm going to do one more layer of tar roof before moving into glass. Now let's see what we can do with the roof. The question will be whether to make it flat or keep going up. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards flat here. This is where things get very janky with all of this coming together. Maybe if I clean it up with my old trusty concrete pillars. So it looks like the railing I created for the downstairs or whatever might be my savior here. It might be my saving grace. I'm gonna want to change the elevation on that, but it'll round out this corner, and then I can start new from the inside of it. So I think I'm gonna run my railing around this top section like I did for down there, and then let's see how that looks. So I can get my curve, and it can run, so I'm 100% gonna stick with this idea. And I might even add some elevation. I might even bring the pillars up more, just to add a bit more height to it. But we'll see. Okay, I have created my ring, and it looks pretty nice. I will say it was completely unexpected that I would actually use the railing blueprints again, but man, that makes it so worth actually having made those blueprints, because I did not expect to actually need them. So I think what I might do is bring the elevation up. So I'm expecting difficulty in making the roof, purely because the glass pieces are not necessarily the greatest when it comes to curves. They're not going to look great with curves. So I have to make it straight. So maybe the best course of action is to not have any sort of curves involved. Okay, so I've managed to find the exact center of the roof, which is, I just took a pillar off the center of this roof, ran it up and ran it through. So now these panes are exactly aligned and they're at the same elevation. So I should be able to just run the roofs all the way across. The question really will be whether or not this looks good. Totally not sure yet. This is just an idea. And if I freeform it, I could probably just add these interlacing pieces in between each pane. Okay, so that's where the beams will lie. Let's go ahead and get a nice overview to see, you know, what this actually looks like. I don't know about that one. I'll be honest, a flat top would look way better than that. A flat rounded top just going through here would look way better. And there goes 20 to 30 minutes of work. Oops. I just caught myself flying. So I think I need to do the same sort of thing. I need to find my center. So that's my center, and I want to build my flat roofs off of that. Okay, I think this roof is going to go much better. The only issue is, why did they make these flat roofs have one specific side that's just fatter than the rest? It makes it almost unusable for any roof that's 3 wide, because it just has this awkward bar. The only solution that I really have is to just double up on the thickness of the roof. Yeah, that also doubles up on how cloudy the glass is. So the way I'm gonna have to construct the ceiling is I'm gonna have to take from each side, have this, and then zoop it out too. This way it can overlap, and then I get that beam in the middle on either side. And then of course on the back end we have this awkward gap. So currently on this side there's not even a meter gap, and then on this side there's a 2 meter gap. So I need to make at least a 1 meter on either side, and I think that will then even it all out. Okay, and it looks like we got almost like exactly a meter there. And then on the other side it should be roughly the same. Okay, that I can work with. That I can be fine with. And then I could just fill this up with a beam, probably. So I got my gaps filled and I got all of the panes placed. Let's see how this looks compared to the other roof that I had made. This one's so much simpler, but I can guarantee it's gonna look a whole lot better. Oh, that's nice. I like that a whole lot more. My only complaint really with the roof is that when you're far away and it comes out of render, the tar does this weird triangle type thing. For now, I'm just gonna clean up and paint everything and see if there's any sort of things that I missed, and then I'm gonna clean it up, bring you back, and then take a look and see if there's any changes we want to make. So one major thing that I've been leaving out that I need to do is I need to design what I want my back wall to be. So I was thinking maybe just do something simple like glass, and I could even still keep the beam running through it, and then maybe have, say, one of these curved walls also be glass. That looks pretty good. Yeah, something nice and simple just like that will do just fine. Go ahead and bring that up to every other floor. Okay, windows are in place, and let's get a little bit of a look from the other side of the building. Looking good. So now the big thing I need to do is I need to just completely paint everything black. All of the concrete needs to be turned black, so I'll quick do that. So here I am in the factory after it's all painted. Not that you can really tell the difference with it being night out, but that also leads me to my next plan, which is ceiling lights. I need to install lights all in here so it doesn't look so dark all the time. Now I need to decide what I want my lights to be and where to be. So the obvious answer is going to be a bunch of these ceiling lights. So let me go collect all the things I need for these. So trying to install these ceiling lights is where it gets a little complicated, because each floor has a different amount of ceiling accessible to it. And what I mean by that is each floor that it goes down, obviously, this ceiling gap widens. So as I get to the very top, there's pretty much no gap, meaning it's going to be difficult to find a place to put the light at. Like up here, I don't even think it'll be possible to put down ceiling lights. I'm definitely not putting it on the window. I may need to get floodlights. Okay, so I have 4 set up, and that'll be per row. 4 per floor per row. Let me go ahead and mimic that on each floor. And then I'll do this in order to connect it up onto the power grid. Bring it over and down onto the pole, just like the rest of the lines. Lights are installed. And now we have one glaringly obvious thing that I'm still missing, and that's stairs. Now that after doing a whole lot more brainstorming, I just could not get a good design to go up to the top layer. Everything I thought of really just was too obstructive and would just put too much in the middle of the building. So I think I'm either going to end up using ladders or hypertubes. I'm going to quick look into both and see what I come up with. So after some consideration, I decided to go with hypertubes. I'm going to make this just nice and simple. Each floor is just going to have a hypertube that either goes up or down. So we'll just make, say, the right side go up, left side go down. And I'll just repeat that for each floor, and it'll be super simple. Okay, here we are at the base floor of the coal power plant, and I have made my way of going up and down just simply with hypertubes on either side. They will either be up or they will be down. As you can see, obviously they're connected, so since that one was up, I go back through it goes down. For some reason the signs keep bugging out. I'll paste the settings and it's not keeping. Maybe I'm pasting the settings too fast. Yeah, okay. But there we have it. There's just a little bit of cleaning up to do. Like right there I have a couple of lights that I removed to test some stuff out, but I'm going to quick re-add that, touch up on details, and then we will have a complete power plant. Now, an idea for a little bit of decoration that I've had from the very start. Super simple. You know, this is a power plant, and then what else? But a slug would be a good decoration for a power plant. I think I'll add maybe a couple more. Let's just say 3 slugs on this. 3 slugs for this side, and then 3 slugs for that side. I think that'll add a nice little flare to it. Don't know if there's a way to change the rotation of it. I think they're always going to be facing, what is that, north? It's kind of weird, but they always face north, I guess. Alright, there we go. Our display of wealth is done. 6 whole blue slugs. Wow. Such wealth. All on display. And as you can see, all the machines are running efficiently. We have an absolutely stable power graph. 4,300 or 4,200 megawatts. That will be 6,000 whenever I can get the Mark IV conveyor belts, but until then it'll only be 4,200. But that is the coal power plant complete. It seems crazy to say that because this has taken me an astounding 47 hours to actually just get coal power running efficiently, but you know, it is what it is. Looking back on this project, I can totally say I went completely overboard for it just being coal power. This was so much more work than I had bargained for. The payoff is big, not in the literal sense. It's satisfying to see the project finally come together. That's the reward. 4,200 megawatts is hardly anything. 6,000 is hardly anything. But hey, we got a cool looking power plant out of it. I will be the first person to point out all of the little imperfections. Those, for example, but those will go away whenever I get Mark II pumps. So I'm not too worried about that because that will be repaired in the future. And things such as like the foundation, you know, it's just out of line. Little things I can fix, but to be honest, I've already spent so much time on this that I want to move on. I want to go actually make some progress in the game with this power that I just got. So, that being said, I need to start planning for my next big project. With the power plant wrapped up, that is all the time I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed the build. It took a lot of time and was pretty exhausting, being sick and all. But nonetheless, I appreciate you watching, and see you next time.